The main goal of today is to actually show you the streaming platform and walk you through the tech and how it works. Now, before I jump into the tech specifically, I just want to give some, basic tips for when you're streaming. It's probably some common sense stuff, but still worth saying. You want to think about how you look, being centered in the camera, having good lighting so everybody can see you. You want to have, think intentionally about what's in your background. So, like, maybe I like the pictures, but I'm going to remove the baby clutter of stuff that I have on top of my couch, can think about that. But, that being said, it doesn't have to be perfect. I would say audio quality is more important than the video quality. People will forgive you for that. They might actually see you as being authentic if you have, your desk in the background cluttered full of stuff. I mean, that's just who you are. That's real. People actually, I think, crave authenticity and realness these days because we're so drained by seeing like AI slop and like perfectly polished people that aren't real, right? So it's okay to be yourself, it's okay to be authentic, but you definitely want to have quality lighting and quality audio. So think about what that means for you, if the microphone on your laptop is good enough, or if you need to get an external mic or headset or something like that. But at least make sure we check the basics of it being tolerable for somebody to sit through for half an hour or an hour. It makes a big difference if I've been paying attention to my own audio, and there's been a couple moments where I'm like, oof, I can hear like every time I type or every time I shuffle my papers, and that's probably annoying for people. So just trying to consider those concepts before we jump in. But the main goal of today is to actually show you the streaming platform and walk you through the tech and how it works so that we basically are going to have a shared login credential for this website. It's called Restream, and you'll have the ability to schedule your own streams and set it up to be branded the way that you like and to just go live yourself. You're going to be the master of your own show and process and everything. It doesn't require one of us to be there to micromanage you and get you started. However, I would love to be there in your chat in any streams that you do. That's what I want to be. I want to get to be the chat for you. So before we have, a real audience, so to speak, other people, you can still have a little bit of engagement, somebody that's asking questions or hyping you up and that kind of thing. So I'll be there to support you that way. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. All right, so I'm going to open up Restream. So this is generally what you're going to see when you log in to Restream. And if you're looking at something different, then you can press the Home tab, and what you see here is the list of all the other streams that we've done or that we've created. And to create a new stream, there's a couple ways that you can do this. One is that you can just press New Stream right up here in the top corner. Or once you've done that one good time and set yourself up and you've already had a stream, then the easiest way to continue is just to duplicate a stream and then change the settings. So I'm going to do that on one of mine, so it's a little bit easier to give you an example of what it looks like. So I go over here to the three dots and I click duplicate, and then I wait a second and it pops up first in line. So I'm going to click on the title to open up that stream so I can edit the settings. The benefit of doing this is because it'll already include any like branding that you've done to set it up. Can you hear me? And then can you see any of my screen share or none of it?
Okay, I can see the website now.
Okay, great. So as long as you can hear me and you can see the website, even if you can't see my face, that's fine. We won't mess with the camera right now, so hopefully everything else will work fine. Okay, so now what I did was I clicked on the stream and then it opened up this page. So you guys are seeing now like what looks like an orange border, is that right? And a black screen pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So if I had turned on my camera, then you would also see my face and you would see my background and it would show up just like that. But I'm not going to turn on my camera just so hopefully it doesn't mess with, Discord and whatever's going on with that, right? So basically in the top right corner, if I clicked go live right now, that is exactly what people would see streaming on YouTube. they would see an orange border, and they would see this chat box, and they would see a black screen because I had not turned on my camera yet. So this is basically the scene that your viewers are going to be watching. And you do have the ability over here on the left side of the screen to set up a couple different screens. So if I wanted to switch from like maybe a welcome screen with my orange border to my go-to, which is this blue border, or if I have one that I want to set up where it's intentional that if I end up sharing my screen again, it's set up to look a certain way visually, you can switch back and forth. And if you click between these, that is also going to change immediately. If I was live right now, it would switch on the live stream from the orange background to the blue background. And all of those changes would immediately happen for the viewer to see. So we're going to help you set up for before you ever do your first stream. You're going to have the settings exactly how you like them, and that way you won't have to worry about doing any of this in the middle of your stream. You can just copy and paste the settings and press go live and get started, and it'll be really easy. But I do want you to understand a little bit about what's happening here, because if you want to make it your own, if you want to edit it, then you have the ability to do that. So for example, over in the right side, if I click graphics, I want to leave a logo in the top right corner for the Vitality Social Network, but maybe over time we want to make it a different look that matches your color scheme, so we could always change that if we wanted. Same thing then for the overlay. So that is the border that we have right now. So we have a green one, we have a purple one, and then we also have an orange one. So if we need to make one for you that is red or pink or whatever your color scheme is, yellow, whatever, I don't know, then we can make it like that, and we can make it personal for your branding, so that every time you go live, people kind of learn to expect like you're the purple streamer or you're the red streamer, or you know what I mean? It like clicks really quickly where you have a consistent color scheme for your series. So you can change any of that the way that you want to. We also have a couple things going on here where, if I wanted to put on the screen Vitality Social Network, and the host that you're looking at right now is Melon, that's me. Or we can change it to Evie, or we can change it to Credex, so that way, same thing, like whenever you're going live, your face is right in the middle, but then the person can quickly see who it is that they're looking at. So if they didn't join in the beginning and they missed your introduction, then they're still able to know who you are. And then lastly on here, we also have the chat box. So right now that's toggled on, and that's something we really want to keep on, because whether a comment comes from Twitch or Kick or YouTube, wherever it is that they're chatting, it's going to pop up in this box. And while you're going live, this is pretty much the screen that you're looking at. You're looking at yourself, and you're looking at the border and the setup and everything like that. And you're really not able to see otherwise what's happening in the chat. So if you turn this off, it's going to be a little bit harder for you to keep up with. You could leave the chat box open like this, but maybe it ends up being the case that you're sharing your screen, or you're switching to show a picture or something like that, where you're not able to look at the chat widget. So it's easiest just to leave it up on the screen, and that way you can see it, and then also all of your viewers can see it. So again, like maybe the people on YouTube aren't seeing whatever's happening on Twitch. So as you're responding to people and you're talking to your chat, it's better if it's all on the screen, so then everybody can see what people are commenting and what you're responding to. And it's really going to be kind of an essential part of what we're doing here, that we want to engage with the chat. We want to build a community. We want people to think, oh, they asked a chat a question, and then they actually responded, and they called out Credex by name, and that makes me want to have that personal attention too. So I'm also going to comment, so maybe they'll call out me specifically, and they'll notice my ideas or my thoughts. And people really appreciate that recognition and that one-on-one attention. So if they see you doing it for somebody else, they're going to be more inspired to comment as well, or to be able to say, look, like my comment is up on the screen here, and that makes me feel good. So We want to definitely include the chat, but you can decide, if you want it to be up in the top corner, if you like it in the bottom right, like whatever your setup is, we can make it comfortable for you. We also have down here at the bottom this thing that's scrolling down at the bottom that's like, thanks for joining, like and subscribe, chat with us, join the Discord. It's like all the things, right? We're more than welcome to change that if you want to turn it off, or if you want it to just say, please like and subscribe, whatever, right? We have different things that we can do with that too. So the goal is that you pretty much have everything, set up the way that you like it. And then every time that you make a new stream, the settings are already in place. So you don't have to redo this process. You just duplicate it, copy and paste it, and it's all already there for you, so you can go live pretty quick and easy. And then we will also work through, if you're someone that plans to share your screen, or you're planning to, like show pictures or videos or something like that, we'll make sure that you have one good screen that's just for your face, and then you have one good scene that is set up for those settings specifically, so it has a slightly different look and feel. Maybe your video's in the bottom right corner, and then the whole thing is full screen for your screen share. We can set it up that way. Okay, so I'm going to pause there and see if anybody has any thoughts or questions on just the look and the feel. Now we're going to go to the top left corner, and this is how we're going to edit our title, our description, and our thumbnail. And whatever we do on this page here, it's going to automatically update what it looks like on YouTube, Twitch, Kick, all those places. So we want to make sure that it's something that's specific. I can help you come up with ideas for these, or you can ask ChatGPT, or you can just make it up, but we do want it to be something that quickly tells the viewer, like, what are they going to learn in this stream, or what is the core content about. And then also, same thing in the description, we can get a little bit more detailed. We want to make sure at the bottom of the description we have like a bunch of hashtags, so hopefully it goes a little bit further in the algorithm. And we also want to include this piece of like, join our community, join the Discord. So that way, if you want one-on-one support, or if you want community feedback, or people that are, like-minded, interested in the same thing you are, or maybe you just want to help, give your ideas for what other content you want to see, then join the Discord, so that way you can be part of the community. And then we have the link for the Discord there. Again, like, you can get this just from like going to the Discord and pressing like invite friends, and then you get like a little link that you can put here, or you can copy and paste it. The great thing about getting your own link is that once you actually use that link and you click on it, it says Melon invited you to join Vitality Social Network. Whereas if you get your own link, then it'll say Evie invited you, or Mike invited you, or Credix invited you. And it would be a little bit better if you had it personalized to you for whenever they click that link. So it would be good to update that, but once you do it once, then like I said, you can pretty much copy and paste the settings. It's a little easier to do in the future. You can also update your thumbnail here. So I have a few, but you want to make sure, like if I click upload here, it does ask me to crop it, so you do need to make sure when you make your thumbnail that it's the appropriate sizing for this, so things doesn't, get cut off at the bottom or at the top, right? You want it to be the right sizing. And I made this thumbnail with ChatGPT. So again, it's like, shouldn't take much time and energy for you to do that, but I am trying to keep consistent branding of this being a series. So we have like episode 1, episode 2, episode 3. They can see mainly what the show is about, like using AI to get a job, and then just some other information there. I like this. It might also be a little bit too cluttered. I don't know. We can work with that over time and decide what we really like it to look like. But the main thing that I need out of your thumbnail is that it's got a nice big picture of your face, so they can see that it is a real human and that it's going to be a person on screen talking to them. And then it also needs to be a consistent color scheme. So whatever you decide to start with, we're pretty much going to stick with that. Like maybe over time we agree on something else, but for the most part, like every AI job series post is going to have the same look and feel, the same picture of me. You know, we're just going to switch things a little bit based on the specific episode. So same for you, like maybe we don't have anybody doing red right now, so maybe you change your color scheme to red and it's the horror series and it's Mike's picture, and then we pretty much just duplicate that every time we have a new episode. We're like, ChatGPT, change this to be episode 3, and this is what I'm talking about today. If you could just tweak it a little bit. So that way, once we schedule out these streams, people can see what's coming and who's hosting it, and really quickly visually be able to see, like, you know, which series it is that they're going to be watching. Once you click update, it will send it to, you know, every single website that you're trying to host on. And I do have a couple of guardrails for that. So right here you can click all the channels. You can see my channels or paired channels. So right now on Restream, with the features that we have, we can send it up to 5 channels at the same time. I really think it'd probably be best if we start with just the Vitality Social channels, and then once we hit monetization, then if you want to put it on your personal channel too and stream both to the branded channel and to your personal channel at the same time, that would be fine. But initially, we're kind of trying to keep all of our viewers in one place. And then over time, the brand is also going to expand, where like right now we're just trying to get to 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours as quickly as possible. So we want all of our channel, like all of our series, all of our hosts, all on the same channel, so that we can hit that, you know, viewership minimum as quickly as possible. But then over time, you know, we'll have like Vitality Social Gaming, or we can have Vitality Social Music, and we can do it on both the main channel and the branded and the, you know, specific themed channel at the same time. And then maybe you grow into the host that owns that channel and you have a few different shows just on that channel. So that's kind of the direction we're working towards. So right now, what this would look like if I went live, I would have on this one and this one and this one. So Vitality Social, YouTube, Twitch, and Kick. That's 3. That's really all that we need to do at a minimum. But just so you know, the benefit of pairing your personal channel is that this website will also pull out the best clips from your live stream. And if your channel is already paired, I will post the shorts, the reels, the like highlights from your stream onto your personal channel as well, because that's a great way for us to reach more people and to advertise, like, hey, if you're interested in this 30-second or minute long clip, go join our community, go join the main YouTube channel, so then you can watch the full stream and meet us there. So if you want to pair your channel, that's pretty much how I'm planning to use it at this time. Is you know, we're just going live on the main Vitality Social channels, but then after the fact, when we have automated clips from this website, we can post it on your personal channel if you want, so you can have those views and also that advertisement for what you're doing. Okay, and then once we have those on, again, it will like automatically update your title. Then a couple other features, like you can also schedule out your stream. So if you built all of this in Restream, but you're not going live today, you're going to do it like, you know, every Tuesday or something, then you can go in here and schedule that out. And it will also create an event page on the main, any of the pages that you have turned on, right? It'll create an event there, and it'll automatically connect and pair them, so people on YouTube can also see that the show is coming and it's going to be on Tuesday at 2 o'clock, and, you know, they can see who's hosting and everything like that from the thumbnail. Then once you're ready to go live, you know, first thing, make sure you have your settings here as like the best resolution possible. I'm paying for a subscription that allows 1080p, so we want to use it. Similarly, it allows local recording, so we can have like, you know, the full stream will be downloaded into a video that we can do anything else we want with, you know, making our own clips or edits or something like that. If you want that for any reason, you can have it. Any content that you're a part of, like, you're entitled to do what you want with. And then when you're ready, you click go live. And there will be probably like a 5-second countdown or so, and then it'll start and you can just jump right in. And I have a couple of quick tips for that, how to start effectively. First, I've noticed that it has that countdown, but Credex tried this the other day, and I don't know if it was his Wi-Fi or something about his setup specifically, but then there was like another 5-second lag of whatever he just started with was cut off and not included in the live video or the replay video. So it's probably a good strategy just to begin with like smiling, setting your energy, your intention. You might have a welcome screen that's blank with just your thumbnail if you want. Take a good breath to pause and then you begin. And additionally, we've all been working on, like, if you've sent me, your ideas for a stream, then I've probably sent you back an idea for how you can flesh it out and give it more structure where you can balance your thoughts and your personality and your personal story or your strategy with engaging with the chat or sharing your screen or whatever. It just gives you some ideas for how you can flesh it out but still keep some organizational structure. And one of my biggest tips is to start with a hook. So instead of starting by saying, hey, this is Melon with Vitality Social, I'm glad that you're here today. Today we're going to talk about how you can use AI to get a job, right? So instead of just starting with my introduction, first I start with a hook, like did you know that 75% of resumes get rejected by an AI tracking system before they even see a human? Or how many of you are trying to apply to a job right now? I know the job market's really tough. So then I jump into my introduction and what I'm there to do. So it helps to start with some sort of like hook or question that gets people thinking and gets them interested in what you have to say, because if that's the very first thing that they hear on the replay, you don't want it to take 30 seconds for you to capture their attention. You really need to do that in the first 2 seconds. So that's why I have that advice to start with some sort of question or hook or something like that before you then go into your introduction and your description of what you're going to be talking about today. And then also, like we've been saying, as much as you can throughout the live stream, plan intentional places to pause and ask the chat a relevant question or call out what's happening in the chat and engage with them. So then they realize this is somebody that it's more personable. Like, that's the difference between watching a recorded video and having the live stream, is they want to have somebody that they can engage with. They want to have a community that they can connect with, and that's what we're trying to create here. So it's definitely important that we use those pieces of the puzzle. One thing I noticed, sorry to call you out, Credex, again, but you're the one that had an example stream, so I can use that a little bit, which is that I tried to be in the chat and to comment a couple of times to give him something to use to engage with the chat, but he told me after the fact he happened to have his notes like on the part of his computer where it was covering up the chat box, so he couldn't see any of that happening. So he was just going through his script, he was going through his to-do. So think about those kind of things when you set yourself up, like if you're trying to split your screen or if you have paper notes in front of you or something like that. Just thinking about how you can still be aware of what's going on in your chat so you can engage with people. And then last tip that I have for your stream is that at the very end, we should give them some sort of action step, like some sort of takeaway. What did I learn that I can now go do and try? So if you're teaching a songwriting series, your to-do is, go think about how you're feeling or a tough time that you had or your favorite memory, and try to write something about it without overthinking what comes out. Just, write freely, anything that comes out, and then bring it back to our next stream and we'll teach you how to give it some structure, how to turn it into a song, right? So you're giving them some sort of takeaway that they can go try or do from whatever they learned on your stream. Or if it was just more of an entertainment-based stream, then maybe you're just plugging like, hey, join the Discord, so then you can connect with me one-on-one outside of the streams and you're part of our community that's interested in this. Or maybe it's, join us next time. We have this series every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and we want to make sure you're there at 8 o'clock. So, whatever it is, just give them some sort of like takeaway action step to end on. And beyond that, you pretty much have the ability to do whatever you want throughout the stream. I want you to pick a topic that you're passionate about, that you'll be excited to show up and do consistently. And while I'm going to try to give you some advice for like how to add structure, how to make it more effective or engaging, like that's just tips. You can still do whatever you want. And there's also nothing wrong with like learning as you go. You don't have to start off like perfectly polished and following a script or something. People actually appreciate, your normal cadence of voice, and realizing that, if you made a mistake, you're just a human, figuring things out too. If you want to seem polished, you always don't have to call out those mistakes, but if you want to, fine, just be an authentic person. People will appreciate knowing that there's like a real human trying to do this, and it probably will inspire them to do it too. Maybe they'll be our next host. I don't know. So I guess that's pretty much everything that I wanted to go through, just as kind of like a basic overview of how to use the system. So the goal is that whenever one of you finishes like your solid idea for your first stream, if you need help with that, let me know. But whenever you're done with that, connect with me and we'll give you the login for Restream. We'll help you schedule out your first stream and set it up to be nice and branded the way that you want. And then you're free to just go for it. And then I'll be there in the chat to hype you up and support you. And then afterwards, we'll talk about like what went really well, what could we do better, and are you ready to commit to a series? And if you are, then I'm going to pick, a couple of people that pretty much come to me first and do this and do it well. And as long as you have the passion and the drive, you'll probably be first in line. And I'm going to have 2 or 3 people that will talk about then like the plan and the compensation to move forward. So that's what's next. So if you're interested in, getting to use this tool and be part of this and join us, then your homework is just to plan your first stream, or let me know if you need help with that, and then connect with me so we can get you started on actually executing that. Okay, so that's pretty much everything I wanted to walk through. I appreciate you hanging in there with me. Does anybody have any questions or anything that you need before we let you go?
Yeah. Is it possible that you can give the link? Are you putting the link out on the Discord page so that we can access it?
Yes, are you talking about the link to Restream specifically?
Yes, the restream.
Yeah, good question. So I will share it with the people that are going to be hosting or running their show, so that they can use it themselves. But your prerequisite is that you have to have your idea for your first show and somewhat of a plan to execute. So I'm not going to give it to everybody that's interested and engaged, but just the people that are actually ready to get started and ready to use it and ready to try it. And then, of course, before you actually go live, you'll have a minute to play with the system and get comfortable with it.
Oh, all right then.
But I have had a couple of you actually go ahead and send me your ideas for your first stream. Mike, you specifically, thank you for that. And then a couple other people as well that told me they weren't able to join today but are interested in moving forward. And basically, the game plan is that, I want to teach you how to use the streaming tools that we're using. We'll have a chance to actually set you up for your very first stream. We might can do one like quick, 5-10 minute get to know you. What are you interested in? What are you planning on talking about? Kind of conversation just to test your audio and your setup and everything. I had somebody do that the other day, and their very first one, they went for 7 minutes and we couldn't hear them the whole time. So, so we want one stream just to kind of work out the kinks, and then we'll actually get started. And if we're feeling like it's a good concept, it's good energy, I would be entertained to watch you, and you actually want to keep doing this a couple days a week. It doesn't have to be 5 days a week, but at least some consistent routine. Then we'll have a conversation about next steps and what compensation looks like and everything like that. I probably am going to begin with trying to find, in addition to me, maybe 3 other hosts, two to three, other hosts right now. And that's how we'll begin with the official show plan. And then anybody else that's still interested in being around, participating, trying, like getting their foot in the door and kind of growing with us, you're more than welcome to still stick around. And maybe like we'll help you develop your plan a little bit more. We'll help you develop your presence on screen a little bit more. You know, whatever it is that we need to work on to get you to be ready to do this consistently, we'll still work with you on that. And then also, just to be transparent in the background, like I've been setting up certain things, like, you know, I've got my LLC and my business bank account going and my tax ID. And because of all of that, I am starting to apply to grants. So maybe eventually there will be some additional funding. So we could have 5 hosts before we're even monetized, or we could hire an editor specifically, or something like that. So I am working in that direction as well. But as we start, you know, I'm gonna have maybe like 3 people that are just like coming out of my pocket trying to get this started, and basically enough, you know, to honor your time, right? To honor your energy as you get this started. But once we become monetized, then there will still be a plan to split that revenue fairly, where you'll feel well compensated for the work that you're doing. And it's just, you know, we got to have expectations that sometimes it's a little bit of a snowball effect to get to that point. So the more we can have all hands on deck, the better. That's for sure. So anyway, you know, Evie, you specifically, you're thinking about doing your Pokemon stream. So what I would ask of you is if you can at least do like a brief bullet point outline of here's what I'm thinking my stream would be about. I can give you a one-pager structure if you need help with even where to start. If you start with that, then I'll help you develop it out a little bit, and then we can help you get started. Okay?
Okay then.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you guys for joining. Really appreciate your time just to watch and learn this. And if you have questions after the fact, let me know. Or if you are ready to move forward, then let me know that, okay?
Oh, I will say that I might be only available Thursday, Saturday, or Sunday, but Saturday and Sunday might vary. I do have visits with my brother.
Okay, I understand that. Consistency is really key. So it might be the case that you can only start with every Thursday or every Saturday or every Friday or whatever. You know what I mean? But if you have to start small, that's okay. I originally was trying to be like 5 days a week, and then I realized, oh wow, it's taken a little bit more to properly plan, to follow up with my edits, to you know, my life is busy, so I backed down and was like, 3 days a week would be perfect. And so I'm thinking something similar of whoever ends up being a routine host with us, that I'd like to see 3 days a week, but if you're less than that, we can talk about it. We can talk about what that looks like.
All right.
All right, well, thank you guys so much. You have a good rest of your day. I hope to hear from you soon.
All right. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.